in Thane, and we have found 48 species of butterfly in Thane city. Also, we have conducted some workshops on conservation, giraffe, wildlife, and man conflicts and kind of the mangrove conservation and kind of things. So we are doing such small activities, and during this lockdown period, we have started webinars. So today, in our session, Dr. Sir will be telling us about world of scavenger and especially on the vultures. So Samir, are you there?
Yes, I am there, and I am started the recording.
Yeah. So can you introduce sir or should I? Yeah. So I will just introduce today's speaker, uh, Dr. Sudhir Gaikwad, sir. So, as everyone knows, sir is well known. There is no as such introduction required to introduce Sudhir sir, but this is just briefly. I will introduce sir. So he is traveled across various types of forests, and he is a very renowned wildlife and a recipient of many international and national wildlife photography awards like UNICEF, Royal Society of Biology, London, and he is also author of the Book of Birds, Thane district, namely Thaneche Pakshi, and he's also recipient of Hindustan Time Thane Ratna Award 2019. There are many photographs and articles published of him in various newspapers and magazines. He's also trustee and treasurer of Hope Nature Trust Thane. And Thane Creek Flamingo Sanctuary is place where Sir can, talk immensely, and he's recording the avifauna of Thane Creek since last 11 years. And today he is going to talk on a world of scavengers with us. So without wasting time, I pass on to you, sir. So please go ahead.
Thank you so much, and sincere apologies for the initial goof off. Basically, this webinar that I'm doing on a Zoom is the first Zoom webinar. I've been doing it actually on Google Meet, so I was well aware of that. Thank you, UBCG, Urban Biodiversity Conservation Group, for inviting me for this lecture here. Well, I'm not going to give you a lecture. We are just going to peep into the world of vultures. Now, why I chose this topic for today's talk? I believe actually these vultures are very much urban birds. We have lots of Tower of Silences across Mumbai, about 5 to be precise in Mumbai, where these vultures are associated with. Most of us know vultures. We all know vultures. Gidad, Gidada Sarka. Like that is what we know. We feel they are ugly, they are evil, they are associated with omen. So why not try to find out exactly what vultures are? So we are going to talk on the world of scavengers, and that is vultures. Now, what is a scavenger? Scavenger is the one who feeds on dead organic, especially birds, animals, and even human beings. So throughout this lecture, we are going to talk about two words more frequently. One is the carrion and the scavengers. Scavengers are the ones who feed on them, and carrions are the ones who are dead. Dead organic things like human beings, cattle, and birds. They are all called carrions, and scavengers are the ones who feed on them. Now, these vultures are known to mankind, humankind, since ages. I mean, during the prehistoric phase, when this system of burial or the system of burning the dead bodies was not known, human beings used to die, animals used to die, and they used to be just laid across. And these were the vultures who used to come and finish on them and keep the world clean. Now we never know what are the reason for the dead. Disease, getting killed by someone, and the dead bodies that lie, they can be a cause of disease. They can cause many infectious disease too. So they need to be finished off, cleaned. And these were the cleaners of the society, the vultures. So relatively unknown, though they have references in literature as old as the Vedas and the Puranas. Jatayu has a reference in Ramayana, who fought with the Ravana to try to rescue Ma Sita. There are lots of misconceptions about these birds. In some religions, the presence of these birds is a sure shot thought that the death is going to come. Vultures flying across a particular village or a place was sure to bring in death. Some considered the vultures to be dirty, ugly. Some considered them to be opportunist. Some even considered them to be evil. But this is so very wrong. Particularly three countries, the Greek, the Egyptians, and the Indians, they have references of vultures in very good faith. They are the statues of vultures in Greek. As far as Egypt was concerned, the Pharaoh was the king of the Egyptians. He had declared a rule that there will be no killing of vultures, and those who will kill vultures, they will be punished. In the ancient Egyptian books, it has been written that the vulture was a goddess who released the water of Nile, and because of that, the civilization thrived across the Nile River in Egypt. So there were some good thoughts about the vultures also. Now these vultures can grossly be divided into two groups. One is the old world vultures. That is, what is the old world? Old world consists of Africa, Europe, and Asia. And the vultures found in these are called old world vultures. This group of vultures belong to the family Accipitridae, which includes raptors like eagles, buzzards, kites, and hawks. This group has 15 types of vultures. And then there's a second, that is the New World vultures. They are mainly in America. This group belongs to Catheridae family and includes 7 subspecies. So there are total around 22 vultures in the world. Now these vultures range from about 65 to 125 centimeters over the species. The Egyptian being the smallest at about 65 to 75 centimeters, and the Himalayan vulture is the largest, around 110 to 125 centimeters. The cross distribution is like a vulture is a bald-headed bird. Now, when we talk about birds, we talk about colorful birds, birds with good sound, good call, birds that are attractive. But these vultures, they are bald-headed. They have very strong mandible because they have to tear across the flesh. Their digestive system is super strong. If you consider the pH of the digestive system of these vultures, it is between 1 to 2. It is highly acidic because they have to digest whatever flesh that they ingest, they have to digest that. So their digestive system has to be very strong. And unlike that, the legs are very delicate. The legs have no actually importance as far as the livelihood is concerned. It has to be just to balance the vulture on a dead animal. So they are delicate. And these vultures the legs of the vultures are very prone to infection when they start foraging and they start scavenging. So to get rid of that, these vultures urinate on their own legs, and the urine that they pass on their leg is also very strong of chemical, and it kills all the microorganisms and the germs that fall on their legs during its feeding.
Sir,
Having said
meeting will end in another 6-7 minutes. So we will use the same ID and join again. It will take about 2-3 minutes in between. Sorry again.
okay, okay. So having said all this, now we will go into and see the photographs of the vultures. As I said, there are 22 type of vultures, and India has 9 of them. Indian vulture, that is Gyps indicus, the Himalayan vulture or the Himalayan griffon, that's Gyps himalayensis, the Eurasian griffon or the Gyps fulvus, the white-rumped vulture or the Gyps bengalensis, the bearded vulture or the Gyptus barbatus, the cinereous vulture, that is Aegyptus monachus, the king vulture or the red-headed vulture, that is Sargogyps calvus, the slender-billed vulture, that is the Gyps tenuis, and the Egyptian vulture, which is Neophron perconoterus. These are the 9 types of vultures that we see in India. Samir, I think in photographs, we will start with the second half.
Chalel na,
We'll be
chalel.
about to have a break, isn't
Sure,
it?
sure.
Yeah. How many minutes do we have now?
I think still about 5 minutes. So you may please continue. At least एक photograph हुई है.
Okay. All right. So these are the Indian vultures or the long-billed vultures. This I have clicked in Gir. So Gir is a place where you can see this, and we are lucky to see a couple of them in a frame. Now this vulture must really be praying to God to save it from being extinct. Very unusual pose that I got to see. This is the Indian vulture. And here's a reference from the Book of Indian Birds, where you can see the distribution of this Indian vulture all across central India, to some part of the West India, East India, the whole of the Western and Southern India. Friends, we have the vulture count to almost about a few thousands now, but believe me, a few decades ago, we had vultures in about a few millions in India. Forget about the world. In India itself, we had a few millions of vultures. So see how rapidly the vulture numbers have declined in India. The second group is the Himalayan griffon. The Himalayan griffon is the biggest of vultures in India. These are about 110 to 125 centimeters. Very huge. I had opportunity to see this from very close. This was clicked in Bikaner. Now this one was with a group of Eurasian vultures, Eurasian griffons. You can see 4 of them, and the one which I am pointing to, that's the Himalayan vulture. You can see the difference between these two. Very similar, but still a little bit of difference in the shade of the color of the feathers. Yeah, the Eurasian and the Himalayan. Here you can clearly see the difference. With 3 Eurasian, you have got a Himalayan griffon, second from the left. See this. Very huge. To me, it's very attractive. I love vultures because I love photography, and vultures are the birds which can give you ample opportunities to get some action shots. Thanks to Book of Indian Birds, I got a reference of this map showing the distribution of this Himalayan vultures. We are talking about the Eurasian griffons also. Again, quite a big bird, around 100 centimeters. I could make this frame again in Bikaner with a steppe eagle on one branch, and then 4 are the Eurasian griffons. Again, a group of Eurasian griffons discussing now what next to do. I think they have had their stomach full of their meals, and they are discussing now what next to do. There are 3 Eurasian with 1 Himalayan. This is one place, Bikaner, where you can see these vultures from very close, and at least about 5 to 6 types of vultures can be seen here. It is really a joy to see these vultures foraging, scavenging. Eurasian griffon with again 2 rare vultures, the Cinereus vultures. And then this is the distribution of Eurasian griffons across India. Now, as we talk about the white-trumped vulture, which has become very extinct, very less numbers. And a few years back, I came to know about a place in very much of Maharashtra near Mangaon in Raigad district. What I came to know about this place was there were 7 vultures, and then there was community conservation where the villagers took initiatives along with some local bodies for the conservation. Okay, so there are 22 types of vultures spread across old world and the new world, and of those 22 in India we have 9 types of vulture, 9 different vulture species. Well, until a few decades, maybe around 80s or mid 80s, we had about a few millions of vultures in India, and over the last few years their numbers have rapidly declined, and from a few millions they have come down to as low as a few thousands. So of the 9 subspecies of vultures, what we have seen before is the Himalayan vulture, we have seen the Eurasian griffon, and now what we are seeing is the white-rumped vulture, critically endangered. Well, I always wanted to see and photograph vultures. I was told there were lots of vultures in Thane in Mumbai. Yes, in Mumbai we have the Tower of Silences, where I'll be telling the reason for the decrease in numbers soon. We had the Tower of Silences. We still have the Tower of Silences, 5 of them in Mumbai, and where the Parsi dead bodies used to be left to the sun and the vultures. So this is a place in Raigad district near Masala. It's called village Chirgaon, where the villagers took active participation in the conservation of the species there, along with a few environment-friendly bodies which were working for the conservation of vultures. There were 7 vultures there initially, and the number has now grown to more than about 70 plus. I had been to this place, and it was amazing to see the village and the villagers. They're sitting at the entrance of their houses, and vultures flying across very low above their houses. It was a treat to the eyes. Huge vultures flapping their wings and flying across their houses in the big faith that this is a very safe place for us. And these are the photographs that I clicked in the village Chirgaon. All these are the white-fronted vultures. They were very close and very low. And one of the long shots which I wanted. And this is a distribution map of this white-fronted vultures. They are spread across in whole country except Kashmir region. Yes, and probably a little bit of Andhra. They are spread across everywhere, but their numbers are very less now. Critically endangered species. Then next is bearded vulture. Bearded vulture is found in the Himalayan regions. I'm yet to photograph and see this vulture. What I've got is from the Google. I wish to see this vulture very soon. Beautiful, isn't it? Next is a cinereous vulture. Again, a very unique, beautiful, a different color, dark, brownish, blackish color vulture. It's a treat to see these vultures. The earlier one was a bearded vulture.
तुमची स्क्रीन नाही दिसत आहे.
Also called it lemon gear. This is cinereous vulture.
तुमची स्क्रीन साहेब ना सर परत शेअर करायला लागेल. तुमची स्क्रीन नाही दिसत आहे.
दिसत नाहीये का? बरं.
नाही. लास्ट ते बियर्डेड वर्चुअल दिसलं त्याच्यानंतर थांबलं.
ओके. कोणीतरी हे केलं असेल, टॅप केलं असेल मध्येच. But now how to go about?
Again, same procedure. You'll have to share the screen.
Okay, I'll have to again go back.
Yes, now we are able to see.
Okay. So we were talking about this cinereous vultures. These vultures come across northernmost part of India, that is the Rajasthan and the border area, and they come during the early winters. Very majestic. It's a treat for the eyes to see these vultures. Brownish and blackish color. I could really click a few from very close. You can see it is as big as the Himalayan vulture. And a very typical site at any dumping yard. This is Bikaner dumping ground. You can see the scenarios along with the Egyptian vulture. Yeah, these are all photographed by me, except when two vultures that I have not clicked, I will be mentioning that I have the source that I have got them from. These are all adult vultures, adult Cinereus vultures. And you can see the green dots and the bluish. These are where you can get a chance to see the vultures in India. And one more vulture which I really long to see, but I haven't clicked a good photograph here is the king vulture or the red-headed vulture. And this photograph has been clicked by my friend Dr. Devi Prasad Rao. And this green patch, the whole of central India, to part of North India, where is the place that you can see this red-headed vultures. Again, the number is, although the distribution is big, but the number is really very less. And there is one more type of vulture which is again very, very rare. The slender-billed vulture. This is one of the very rarest of vultures in India. Again, this is not my photograph, but I have got a reference for this photograph from the Google. With the distribution across northeast of India. And then we are talking about the Egyptian vulture. And this vulture is a bit different from the other vultures that we see in India. And this incidentally is the smallest of the vultures to be seen in India. This is somewhere around 65 to 75 centimeters. The head is not bald, it is covered with feathers. This vulture is also called the Pharaoh's chicken. Pharaoh is the Egyptian king, and this is called the Pharaoh's chicken because you must have seen chicken actually when they sit on the ground. This vulture sits very similar to that chicken, and then it's called the Pharaoh's chicken. I'll be showing you a photograph of that. And the distribution is quite big. Number is relatively okay. Say this. This is, isn't it sitting like a chicken? The Pharaoh's chicken. And this is an adult one. The Egyptian vulture, adult vulture is whitish in color, and the juveniles are dark. Juveniles, so the young ones are dark in color. A classic photograph of an adult and a juvenile. The juvenile is trying to take off and is being observed and guided by an adult sitting above it. This was again clicked in Bikaner outskirts. A very good close-up of this Egyptian vulture. This is a preening Egyptian vulture. Now let me tell you about the vultures. Vultures can finish off a carrion, that is a dead animal, within a few minutes to a few hours. There has been an instance of a cattle being finished off by a flock of vultures in just 40 minutes. And after the vultures, they feed on, they scavenge, they usually take a bath. So vultures are usually found near water bodies because after a bath, they need to take a bath just to clean off all the blood and the germs that come onto their body, their feathers, their feet from the carrions or the dead animals. And as I told you, there can be some germs on their feet also. So they urinate on their feet and they try to clear off the germs with those. and this is a juvenile, or the not a fully grown one, the young one of a Egyptian vulture. So friends, we have seen the 9 types of vultures that are found in India: the Indian vulture, the Himalayan vulture, the Eurasian griffon, the white-rumped vulture, the bearded vulture, the cinereous vulture, the king vulture, the slender-billed, and the Egyptian vulture. We have seen about the vultures. I have told you about the description ranging from 65 to 125 centimeters. Now, there are some trees particular where the vultures like to make their nest, or their preferred trees. They are the Terminalia arjuna, that is Arjun tree. The second preferred is the Terminalia bellerica, that is the Beheda tree. The third is the Ficus religiosa, or the people tree. The vultures also prefer Ficus bengalensis, that is the Vatavruksha. Then one more preferred tree is the Bombyx sarba, that is the Katesavar. Vultures can also be seen on the Kadamba. Now, this can tell you one of the reasons why vultures number is diminishing, because all these trees, actually the number is now becoming less. People are cutting trees, so the vultures are not finding their host trees. The vultures are monogamous. What is monogamous is they mate for life. They have I mean, they have a single pair. One male unites with a female, and the pair is for life. The vultures are colonial breeders. They breed in colonies, as I told you, where there's a group of this water trees or the people trees. Vultures can breed. They can make their nest on these trees there. The breeding period is usually November to March. And after mating, eggs are laid, and the incubation period is 50 days. So it takes about 50 days for the egg to hatch and the young one to come out. Usually the young one of a vulture is about 15 centimeters in size. Both the parents take part in incubation. And usually when one parent is incubating, the other parent is trying to be close by, or if both the parents are out of the nest, one of them tries to be close to the nest to guard the nest. The young ones remain in the nest for about 3 to 5 months. Average lifespan of these vultures is about 45 to 50 years. There are various reasons actually for the decline in the number. As I told you, one of them is cutting of the trees. These vultures, until a few decades, were millions in number. Now they are barely a few thousands. Vultures are used in black magic. People, this bird is very different in appearance from other types of birds. So there's always a curiosity. There's a sort of uncertainty about the bird, the type. So you cannot easily relate that with other birds. So it is, usually considered to be one with curiosity, used in black magic. In some places of Bundelkhand in India, eggs are used in black magic. In some places, the presence of these vultures is attributed to a certainty of death. Vultures flying in the sky, people think now there's going to be death in the village. So they don't like the vultures to be around, try to destroy them, try to kill them. Then there's habitat destruction. As I told you, cutting off the nesting trees. And in the cities where the vultures were there, there's rampant constructions. So there's very less place for the vultures to nest. Then there's a climatic change. This is one of the reasons for the decline in number. And the most and the foremost important is the use of diclofenac sodium in livestock. What is diclofenac sodium? Diclofenac sodium is a painkiller used in livestock. It was used rampantly in livestock by veterinarians a few decades ago, until it was realized that the cattle or the livestock which is injected with diclofenac sodium, when they die or if they die, And if they are eaten by these vultures, the kidneys of these vultures get destroyed because of this diclofenac sodium, which is given to the livestock. And there was a mass death of vultures because of the diclofenac sodium. And as and when it was found out, there was a ban on this diclofenac sodium, but it was quite late actually to control the numbers. And one more important reason for the declining numbers is the disposal method of the carrions. Previously, the carrions or the dead livestock, the dead animals, cattle, was left for vultures. Nowadays, they are buried. And because they are buried, the vultures have nothing to eat, so the numbers is declining. Now, if you want to see the vultures, the best 5 places in India to see the vultures is a Ramdeva Betta Sanctuary in Karnataka. There is a Orcha in Madhya Pradesh, the Gir or the Ginnar in Gujarat, where we saw the Indian vulture, the Behrangarh Fort in Rajasthan, and the Jatayu Conservation Breeding Center in Haryana. These are the places where you can see vultures in good numbers. But apart from that, there are some off-record places which we photographers like me, I'm trying to explore these places to see the vultures. The foremost of them is Bikaner in Rajasthan. You get to see about 5 to 6 types of the 9 types of vultures in Bikaner. Then there is a place near Ahmedabad called the Dabla Dumping Ground. When I reached there for the first time, I had some doctor friends along with me. The smell was so stinky that we tied handkerchiefs across our nose and we sprayed perfumes, but even then it was an impossible task. But then we still went inside because we wanted good photographs, being photographers. One more good center to see these vultures from very close in a natural environment is Masala near Mangaon, which I showed you, where you can see the white rump vultures. Now there are 2 vulture restaurants which have been started in Maharashtra. One is in Fansad Wildlife Sanctuary, where the forest department has started a vulture restaurant. Now, what is a restaurant? Restaurant is a place where you get to eat. The dead cattle is been brought and dropped at a Fansad Wildlife Sanctuary, so that the vultures can come and do their scavenging work there. And they are again planning, the work is going on in the place near Vasai, where there is going to be one more vulture restaurant. Some government bodies, some autonomous bodies are working towards the conservation. As I told you, there's a CISCAP, or they are the villagers of Masala. They are doing their work there. Then BNHS, Bombay Natural History Society, is doing their work there. Wildlife Institute of India is doing their work. Salim Ali Ornithology Center is doing their work. The forest departments at Pinjore in Haryana, Buxa in wildlife, and Assam, they are doing their bit. But friends, it is we, you and me. We are the people who should do our part for the conservation of this magnificent bird, the vultures. If we try to help these conservation efforts by these people, these centers, these bodies, go and see them, photograph them, let the villagers who try to kill them realize conserving or preserving these vultures, conserving these vultures can get a lot of tourists to them, and they can get money. They definitely themselves will take part in the conservation efforts. So it's we who are most important. And this is one of a very usual scene, a very common scene at any dumping ground. This was clicked by me in Bikaner. So this is all about vultures and the conservation of vultures. Thank you so much for inviting me today. Samir, that's it from me. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, sir. It was really a treat to the eyes. The way you have captured these pictures are simply amazing, and thanks for the information. I think
I just saw one question on the screen.
Yes.
Let me tell you one thing. See, these vultures are scavenging on carrions. What are carrions? Carrions are dead organic human beings, animals, or birds. Vultures never feed on anything which has signs of life. they'll go and sit near and dead almost dying cattle, but they will not touch a cattle until and unless there are any signs of life there. When all the signs of life, all the signs of life are diminished, when there are no more signs of life, the vultures will start feeding. So vultures will never ever touch anything that is alive. Okay, there is one more question which I see. Why are the heads of the vulture bald? Vultures feed on carrions. How do they feed? They climb on them and they dip their head and their neck in the bodies of these carrions, and that is how they start feeding. And once they dip their head inside, there is always a possibility of the germs getting deposited on the neck if they have feathers. So nature has kept their head and their neck bald, so there are less chances of the germs getting deposited, and it becomes very easy for them to clean if they get deposited there. So that is why most of the vultures are bald.
Yeah, the next question is, do vultures migrate?
Yeah, vultures do migrate. They migrate as like other birds in search of meals or in favorable atmosphere. Like some which come to the northeast from the Gulf, where the climate is very cold in winter, they move to a relatively less cold climate, that is Rajasthan. They come to Gujarat, where the climate is a little bit less cold. So meals is a prime factor for migration, but they are, they keep on migrating and then they go back. The Indian vultures that we saw here, usually the white rump, they are the ones which are here throughout. But vultures like cinereous vultures, they keep on migrating. Yeah, there's a question like, how do you identify a vulture in flight when they are flying high, they are soaring in the sky? It's very difficult until and unless you keep on observing them. You have to keep on observing them, their feathers, their size relatively, and that is the only way that you can find out. But you have to observe them regularly, then and only then. Just seeing their pictures on the screen in Google, on the Google, and then going onto the field and observing them and identifying them is very difficult. Yeah, any more questions?
Yeah, do vultures feed on human body? I think you have.
Yeah, they do. They do. See, as I told you, in the prehistoric ages, when in the very primitive stage of mankind, human beings, they die at some stage. Nobody is going to live forever. But then, that ritual was not developed that time, that a human being after dying has to be buried or has to be burned. So the bodies were left, and then they were the cleaners of the human body that time. So they used to clean. So they definitely, and even now the Parsis deposit their bodies at the Tower of Silence for the vultures. So they do definitely feed on human beings, but never on a life which is still living.
The next question is, do you take planned virtual tours just like you take other tours? So please keep us
Yeah,
posted.
I do. As I said, I just love to see vultures. I love people. I love to take people to see vultures. Every year, once in a year, I go to see vultures because they provide a lot of photo opportunities. I really do. I love to take them, and I would love to keep on taking people to see vultures.
So this information would be available on your Facebook page, or is there anywhere where people can find this information?
I'll be soon coming out with my web page, but till then you can contact me on my cell number. If you can display the cell number on the group that you have formed, people can contact me.
I think we have still 10 more minutes to go, and then the session will end. So we will take few more questions quickly. The next question is, generally average vulture, how far they fly?
Oh, vultures can easily, 100 kilometers is very easy. A few 100 kilometers they can fly. In search of food, when they soar high, they can easily fly for about 100 kilometers.
Okay, the next question is, different types of vulture are seen in the same group. Don't they fight for food?
Well, within the same type also they fight. Vulture, vulture is आपण म्हणतो ना निरुपद्रवी असतं. They do not pose any problem for human beings. They do not make much of noise. They hardly make any noise until only during scavenging. Sometimes this noise that they make. But apart from that, I have hardly heard vulture noise, vulture call. They do not trouble anyone. If you don't leave space for them, you don't leave any food for them, they'll just go off from there. So always helpful to mankind, no trouble to mankind at all. Yes, they fight amongst themselves, definitely. And that is what I love to, I love to see those vultures fighting for meals. And that is the time that gives me opportunities to photograph them.
Okay, sir, I have one more question is, I think you mentioned the different trees. I think it was very interesting to see that, because generally such information is not easily available. So thanks for sharing that information. But one more observation that I have come across is that in Konkan region, where you mentioned about in near this Masal, the location, I think we have
Yeah.
seen this nest on coconut tree. So is that an
Yeah, they
adaptation?
do. They do. That is, availability of space is one more important thing.
Okay.
And yeah, they can actually, opportunist nesting can happen. I mean, those are the common ones which I told. Apart from that, definitely they can be.
Okay, because that generally sometimes I think it is seen even at a lower level. I mean, some generally vultures make this one at a very tall trees and tall this thing, but here I think even at a 5 feet, 6 feet.
If the vulture feels it is safe enough, see why
Okay,
and where
okay,
do the birds
okay.
make their nest? They feel if it is safe, they definitely will. And
Okay.
usually vultures carry on with the same nest years to end, for years after years. So if 1 year they feel the nesting is successful, definitely the next year they'll go to the same site.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Devi has asked a question: how do they fly so high with such huge bodies? Well, birds with big bodies, their bones, they have, it's just like the bones are not very heavy. So that makes it like the wings have they have a very big wingspan, and they can easily carry the wind currents along with, they can adjust their wingspan to the wind currents. They have very good knowledge of wind currents, and that is how they fly very high. The bones are not heavy. So they definitely can fly very high. Yeah, they do have hollow bones. Yeah, we can predict seasons according to the breeding, but yeah, usually the breeding takes place between November to March. Birds are very particular about their breeding season. Breeding season is usually observed from November to March. It is we human beings, we have studied the vultures and we have tried playing foul with them. Seeing vultures, I'll just correlate one incident of poaching and vultures. Now, whenever a poacher, for example, in Kaziranga, whenever a poacher used to poach a rhinoceros or an elephant, if the elephant is dead, there used to be vultures soaring across the sky in that region. Now, the forest department could know that the vultures are soaring across, flying across that region. So there must be a dead animal. And then they also explore that area. So the poachers, what they did is they realized that the forest department can come to know about the death of an poached animal. So they started killing the vultures itself. So this is how, human beings or wildlifers or poachers, they study the habitats and the nature of birds and animals, and they make use of that for their good or bad use. Okay, Samir, any more?
Thank you, sir.